Here we are again. We number 5 tonight. We've got one missing, but welcome back to Crone's Crucible. Kyle will be with us shortly. As usual, he's got a few kid problems in the background that he's handling. That's kind of normal. So he will be online in just a moment, but we'll be missing Conrad tonight, which is fine. He had his quest last week, so that works out really good. Should be perfect. Last week, we tried to get to Castile's Manor, but we got kind of sidetracked on a debate about exactly where to go. So we never got to my thing that I was going to expose about straddling two themes on the whole Waterdeep dragon heist. Cashin wound up going to his quest in the bay, which was for the bronze dragon, and he got that done on a side quest while the others were debating exactly where they were going to go. So it wound up not being an episode that I really felt like was good on a YouTube video. So if somebody was trying to catch us on YouTube, I didn't post last week, and I apologize for that. But I think actually there was just a side quest and some debate, and I don't think it would have made real good video material. So we are moving on tonight to the issue. So I'm going to kind of back everybody up to where we are in the story. Basically, as the main group were discussing their options, and Cashin went off to talk with a baby dragon in the bay, the others had an issue related to these bones that were stolen in the City of the Dead from the Cassalanter Mausoleum. And Epiphany got a lead through one of his quests that he believes ties together with these missing bones. It sounds like it's the same thing. He has this offshoot faction that he is getting some hints from. And Epiphany brought this back to them, and they were debating whether this was good information or not and whether they should follow it up. In the process, they have finally decided they're going to go see this man named Otto Castile, which apparently is both a magister in the town, and they have their suspicions that he may be involved in some of the court dealings they've had. And he is also knee-deep in the history of the Cassalanters. Now, I notice we are missing, 2 people in-game?
Sorry, one sec. Slight lag on my computer.
That would be my fault.
So that.
I know, shame.
As we begin tonight, I'll put us on for visual on the entire map of Waterdeep, because basically they've got about a mile's walk from the Trollskull Alley area to where they need to be. Now, let me get a pointer up so you have some idea on this. This is the mile. The Cassalanter Via is here, and the Castile home is just behind it here. So you have probably passed it a few times if you've gone to the House of Inspired Hands, which is right here. He's right in the main brunt of where you've been before, but his home is right on the corner of this street. So the group is setting out, and in some text RP that they did behind the scenes, Epiphany basically came down the stairs in the Trollskull Inn, not looking entirely like himself, and took people a little bit by surprise. Epiphany / Kyle, why don't you tell them what he looks like at the moment?
So they come downstairs in the green and gold gown floofy gown that Nakri helped them purchase. They have dark, ash black skin, red eyes, stark white hair, and look entirely like any other female drow might, and are wearing the latest in Waterdeep high female fashion.
Very good. And to catch the viewers up on kind of how you responded, what did your characters respond like when you saw Epiphany like this? Lynn Nockery helped him search out the dress, so she recognized the dress at least. Am I correct?
Yeah. It was pretty much just like, oh.
They wanted options.
They wanted options.
Well, I mean,
Varys was confused for a while. He also wasn't there initially because of the whole thing at the docks last session. So they came in a little bit later.
We see the picture now.
And I apologize to the people out there. I'm starting to look a little ratty. This is day 14 of our quarantine in our state. So I'm starting to look a little ratty, and I'm trying to talk family members into grabbing the shears and giving me a haircut. So we'll see what happens. But I'm having a little trouble maintaining it. It's at that really ratty
I actually
stage.
think you look fine.
You look fine, Mom.
Yeah, pretty much.
I just looking at all this.
you look fine, Grandma.
Yeah, I look like a grandma tonight, I'll tell you.
Someone needs shears.
Yes.
Just full bald.
That would be more practical. I wish I could. Wish society would let me. I'd go flat top, except I have such pale hair that if I do a female buzz cut, I look like I'm bald anyway. So, whatever. Anyway. You are at the Troll Skull, and the group of you have finally, after discussing for a bit in the main room, you got kind of shooed out by Volina, the waitress who had to open the doors, and you decided to head on out towards the manor that belongs to Otto Castile. So is there anything you are discussing along your route as you progress over to his house?
So what exactly are we asking him? Like, what questions are we... I think it's a good idea to at least plan out ahead of time what we're going to say.
Well, the only thing I have to do is possibly inform him that his late father is now missing, and see where that leads us.
Yeah, that'll go over great.
Well, do you have any other better ideas? I'm all ears.
Celia, I'm just double checking that it was the father and not the uncle now.
There are 3 bones missing now.
Have we had a long rest since the previous session?
No.
No, okay.
Now, this is occurring on that same day that basically the dragon got handled. This is noon of the 1st of March.
Just trying to remember if I would have had a long rest since the last time I used spells, because I'm at...
I would say yes, if the last things you had done were dealing with the graveyard.
Yes, the last thing I did was dealing with the graveyard, so we had a long rest since... Okay.
Yeah, you just have not had a long rest since last week's session, but the previous night you had a thing. Yeah, I'm looking at the actual family list right now so that you basically have it. The bones that are missing are Alphonse, Leo, and a man named Byron Fellcroft.
Right.
So it is the father, the brother,
The Son, and the Holy Spirit.
the
I'm
father,
looking at him on the edge.
the brother, and an unknown man who was buried in the Cassalanter crypt. Therefore, you can safely assume that he had some kind of honors to the Cassalanters, and they buried him in a large mausoleum.
Yeah, as I remember, it was I believe it was the family doctor.
Right.
On the
I see where
We
my...
have a couple hours in this outfit. Can we please pick up the pace?
All right. So you stroll down the street in your Waterdeep finery, and are the rest of you dressed up or trying to impress in any way, or are you just in ordinary clothes?
Ferris is just in his everyday blue, green, a little bit of gray-ish clothes.
Shepard's still in his Undertaker's robe.
I thought you were going to...
He never dresses up unless he needs to make an appearance for something.
When you started and kind of paused after under, I thought you were going to say underwear.
Yeah, because that really fits
more
Shepard
amusing.
right now. That would be
much more amusing.
I think that fits Lyric more than the Shepard.
Relian probably would have cleaned his cloak and had some help from Epi patching any tears or seams, and he's probably wearing his best robe, so he's looking pretty snazzy.
Very good. All right, now the house image actually is turned on its side. You actually, north is to your right on this map. So you basically come down the street from the east. Up is to the east, the direction you came from. And you approach the corner. This is the manor that you are approaching.
So it would be what, down here-ish is the corner
Yes.
you're talking about?
All right, so you approach this manor, and it appears to be a typical upper middle class, perhaps verging on lower middle class, upper class manor. It's very well kept. Obviously, there's some kind of landscape person and so forth that is managing the manor and so forth. It is not just one person trying to keep it up. It's in very good shape. And it is a townhouse, 2 stories. You do notice a hatch to a cellar as you come past on the street. That is there. There's no doubt that there's some kind of cellar to it. So it's basically 3 stories if you count the cellar. And you come around the corner to the main door, which is around this way. So come on around. I'm going to take Cassian's token off of here because he is not with us tonight.
I've taken the liberty of drawing a small compass in the top right of where we are visible. Is that generally correct?
No, it's back. The east and west is backwards. Just a moment.
I have an OC question for the rest of the group, actually. Would we have taken the constable with us?
Actually, Varys, let me get a compass rose. You've got it all turned around. Hang on, just let me take it off and get a compass rose on here because you're completely upside down.
I throw this back at you. Do we have a choice?
Oh,
For
that
what?
is very fair.
The constable?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, technically we do. We have to have the constable with us if we decide to leave the city, and we're not leaving the city.
Leaving the city. Yeah.
So we technically do have a choice.
In that case, I'd say probably no, since it doesn't necessarily involve him.
I mean, he could be keeping an eye on Cassian to make sure he doesn't leave the city.
I'd actually the guy that does not like the guard would actually argue to have the guard with us.
Really?
I mean-
Why is that?
To have someone that is from the guard with us.
I know where
because of
you're
his
going. It's not a bad idea as long as he's.
It's someone that has a legitimate reputation, because ours is still, muddy, sort of. We're still trying to make our reputation.
Okay.
We have a guy
Okay.
with a legitimate reputation that can.
Who was
vouch
actually
for us.
there during everything that went down.
Let me snag.
I would keep that.
Let me snag him real quick, and he will kind of trail behind, long suffering, because he's getting tired of being forced to traipse around after the group of you. But he not because of you guys. He likes you guys. It's because of
He's
people
being
that are.
ordered to.
Yeah, the people that are.
We made a
ordered.
friend!
All right, so he's. He will kind of take up to give you a little bit of a privacy, he will kind of take up a stand at the corner of the house, stepping back a ways so as not to be apparent, but in range should you need it. Now, as you approach this front door, all hell breaks loose above your head. You hear a screeching, squawking, piercing sound coming from the upstairs windows that is shrill and very unpleasant. And there is people yelling from upstairs. There is a man and a couple of women yelling from inside. And all of a sudden, there is the sound of crashing glass, and several creatures fly out, break through the glass in one of the upstairs windows, and fly out of the building. And you hear a man's voice follow them out, saying, "Leave me alone, you fools! I don't have it! Try the windmill!" And they come streaming out of this thing, flying. They're small creatures. They're only the size of like the flying snakes sort of thing, but they come flying out of this window ahead of an angry roar of this man yelling about, "Get out of his life, he doesn't have it, try the windmill," is all you know.
Every time
Why
we
is
go,
it? Why?
every time we go to a noble's place, this is what, the third, the fourth time? Every time we go somewhere.
I'll look at Corporal Banders and say, "Do we have permission to..." and gesture at the house.
He looks up kind of startled and blinks at with his mouth hanging down and goes, "What are they?"
That's...
Taking that as a cue, I'm actually going to go ahead and cast Sacred Flame at one of the things that's flying out.
So these are... what do they look like?
They look like a combination between a serpent and a bat.
Interesting.
And they've
They
got
look at all
spines
similar.
down their back.
Do they look at all similar, or maybe a subspecies of the serpents we've seen previously?
No, they look like, if anything, some kind of abomination hybrid thing. It's
Yeah, I roll Arcana.
yes.
Can I roll initiative?
Can we
Let's-
not
let's-
attack? Might be a
Maybe
mistake.
please just destroy.
Relian looks at this, and it's not something that he's had any direct connection to. Let me get our picture from last week off of here so that we can get our rolls up
Every
for
ti-
people to
Every
see.
time I try to make really knowledgeable about stuff he should be knowledgeable about.
It just... it doesn't work. Sorry.
Yeah, go figure.
It's not fair.
So, should I roll my Sacred Flame?
Yes, if you want to attack, go ahead. They are heading, let me see, I gotta turn my head sideways. They will be heading right over your head and flying eastward.
How high up are they?
Yeah, how high?
15 to 18 feet, they're a second window high.
So,
I'll be able to reach them.
we'll call it the closest one that is closest to the party, DC 14 dex save or take 2 damage.
Very good. Let me get some things off my screen here so I can see what I need to see. Need this one. Dex save. They roll a 20.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Alright, roll initiative. You are in combat.
Ding, ding, ding.
Why? Why are we doing this?
I really want to fight them, guys. I rolled an 8.
Cleric initiative.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Monk initiative. Always going first.
I never
What's
get to
up?
go first.
You have the cleric roll.
Yeah, but I got a +2. It should
Yeah,
count
but
for
I got a
something.
+4.
Yeah, you got a +4 and got 22. I got a +2 and got an 8.
That's, you got the cleric roll. What can I say? I'm kidding. You're lucky,
Alrighty.
Gore, please heal me.
Alright,
You can kill
Varys.
yourself.
Varus, you are up first. What are you going to do with these things?
First, let's see how far away they are. They are about 40 feet, so theoretically they shouldn't be too quick. I will actually go ahead and cast fairy fire, I guess, on the lot of them.
All right, you're trying to highlight them to do what exactly?
Yeah, so they each have to make a dexterity DC 13 saving throw. And if they fail, they all have a aura around them, shedding dim light in 10 feet. All attack rolls against them have advantage, and they gain no benefits from being invisible.
Okay, you said it was a dex save, yes.
Yeah, dex save.
I'm just rolling once for the whole group. They got a 12. What did you say your DC was?
DC is 13.
Okay, so they have St. Elmo's fire glowing around them as they fly. They are now these hideous-looking flying things that glow.
Yeah, and then he's taking out a trident in one hand and just kind of loosening up.
Very good.
So all attack rolls against them currently have advantage.
I'm putting a glow icon on them. There you go. They are all glowing. All right. Next up is Nakre. What are you doing?
I really don't have any way to hit. Well, I do have one way, but double checking. Sorry, my approach was I don't want to attack them, but everyone's like attacking. I'm gonna just pass. I'm in the initiative, but I'm just gonna let this one go. It's like I have no interest in attacking them.
Very good. All right. So we move on to the creatures who screech, and they will fly. Let's see, what's their movement? Yeah, I thought so. They will fly at a very rapid pace until they are right over your head, and as they get over your head, they will dip down and like do a flyby attack on you. They are not available for an attack of opportunity. You are not able to attack of opportunity these creatures, but they swing their tails around at 4 of you and attempt to poke you with the manta ray spike on the end of their tail spines.
I will, if they're attacking, I kind of want to protect Epiphany, air quote, as seeing as they are a lady in distress.
And I will pick the front 4, which will be Banders, Nakri, Varus, and then let me roll a d3 to see which of the other 3 of you. Okay, and Shepherd. All get a swing at this thing. Now, reading from the top and starting with Banders, a 12 does not hit him. A 13 does not hit Nakri. A 12 does not hit Varus. And, oh wait, I'm on the wrong thing. A 13 does not hit Banders. A 12 does not hit Nakri. A 23 does hit Varus for 5 piercing damage and 1 fire damage.
Ah.
And 15, does that hit? That does not hit Shepherd.
Nope.
I am going to make my Constitution saving throw. Fairy Fire is gone immediately.
Very good.
That was a waste of a spell.
All right, so the group of them are now at this point right over your head, having just attacked. Let me pull them to the front so that I can keep grabbing them.
So in order to attack us, they'd have to get like within melee-ish range?
Yes, they're right over.
Are they still in melee range?
Yes, they're right over your head. They used all their movement to get to you, and they are right over your head.
Need to read one thing really quick. Okay. Did we freeze? We good?
I think
I
we're
can
good.
still hear you.
Okay.
And I would add that if anyone, which might tend a little bit towards Epiphany a bit, but if anyone had recognized this, you'd realize they're making a fast flyby attack. They're not doing everything. They're just trying to dissuade you.
Okay. I just have one question. How sturdy does Banders look?
He's pretty sturdy. He's in guard armor and so forth.
How sturdy do these things look?
They look probably a lot more sturdy than the flying serpents that you encountered. They don't, because they're tiny creatures. Or small or tiny. I don't know which they are. What are they? Are they small or tiny? They're small. They aren't probably the most vicious thing in the world, but obviously they've got a bit of a hit.
Alright, this is my go. Okay. Sorry to everybody in advance.
Oh god.
Oh no, that's never good.
Thunder wave on everybody.
So
Fireball.
Marielle moves into position. She says, "My apologies," and whips her hands, and all of a sudden, like from like beneath the dress, over the dress, these black like tendrils just erupt and then whirlwind to smack everything within a 10-foot radius.
Aw.
A lady never tells indeed.
Just remember, I was against this idea.
All right, so DC 13 strength. All right, let's give them 4 strength saves here on you and see if any of them succeed.
Yeah, so it's each creature in the area must make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 2d6 necrotic damage and can't take reactions until its next turn. On a successful save, the creature takes half damage but suffers no other effect.
Okay, I'm rolling for the 4 of them. You guys roll yours. It looks like we've got 4 fails. All right, so they all took 6 necrotic
Six
damage.
6 necrotic, and they can't take reactions until its next turn.
I go down to 22 hit points.
I think it's
You
half.
guys hard.
I thought it was half damage on the damage made? Question mark?
No, it's half damage on a success, and you're the only one who succeeded.
Relian just gets whapped really hard. The army just goes, ow!
Yeah. Varus casts Fire Fire, then gets bit in the neck by one of these bat things, and then gets smacked in the face by a tent.
And then like it all like retracts. Oh dear. Sorry.
Very unladylike. All right, so there are loud screeches from these things, and they like pull back as these things whack all 4 of them. They didn't expect that. Relian?
Let's see. You said there was 4 of them? Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Eh. I can't imagine these things would be too sturdy, but still, the 3 right in front of me, I'm just going to point at and just it's kind of that tendril kind of took some of the wind out of his sails, and he just says, "Bang." So that's 4, 5, and 4. Each one of those to a different creature. I'll let you just randomize it.
Okie doke. Since it's around you in an arc, the bottom one I'll start with 4, since it doesn't really matter. Okay, so they've been whack, 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 whacked real fast. Shepard, what are you doing? I can't hear you.
You may be muted.
Sorry, I muted because I was typing stuff. Which one looks the most damaged right now?
They're all almost identical. They've all taken pretty much the same damage.
Alright, then I will just go with the closest one again, Toll the Dead. DC
There you
14 Wisdom save or take 6 damage.
The nearest one to you rolls a 4, so it takes 6 more damage.
And that will end my turn.
The one nearest you there is kind of flapping sideways like a bat that's gotten hit by something and trying to right itself. It's flapping all over the place and trying to get back and squawking and screeching like some kind of chicken from hell. All right. Yeah, a horrible sound. Barris.
So one of the things I recently purchased with my excess of money was a net. And I am going to try to... these things are still within melee range above us, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to take out my net in my... I have my trident in one hand. I'm going to take out my net in my offhand and toss it.
So it's like a fisherman's net or a butterfly net?
Yes?
One has a pole, one is just a net that you toss.
I guess just a butterfly... Oh, I got you. Fisherman's net. It's made for capturing... It's an actual thing in the player's handbook.
With the weighted edges and you toss it over something. Yes, I got you.
Yeah,
okay.
Fisherman's net. So it is it's a regular attack, so I'm going to roll that. 24 to hit.
You do hit, so you have ensnared, I assume, the one closest to you?
Restrained.
Okay, so...
whichever one is close to me. It is restrained.
All right, so I'll show a net being thrown over it. And
then I guess I'll make a bonus action punch at a different one.
That might be hard to do.
Okay, never mind then. That's whatever the GM says.
The others are kind of 10 feet from you. The net was okay, and the trident would be okay because it has reach, but not a fist.
That's I can't make a trident attack as a bonus action, but I can just hold on to the net and say, I've got one. You can try to keep it from escaping, if you don't mind. We can try to get some answers, maybe.
It is flopping and squawking and screeching, and all of the things above you kind of turn and look at this thing in the net, and we'll see what it does. Nakri, what are you doing on this round?
Looking at the rest of them and going, what the hell? It just kind of motions to this. Is there any that are within her range?
The one in the net and the two just north of, or just east of you, actually, because it's turned sideways, just east above you on the map would be within your range, but not the one over by Banders.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be easy just to take out a weapon and club these things. They're kind of small. Is it possible for me to, like, grab one out of the air?
Yeah, you can make a grapple attempt.
What do I have to roll for that?
Strength versus their dex.
Athletics versus acrobatics.
Okay, so, yeah, roll my athletics. Nope, that's not gonna happen.
Well, we'll see. It is a tie, and in my world, the ties go to the attacker. So you snag another one.
It's fine. It's a nat one. I just say swing and a miss at that point. She's not even that serious. She's just kind of confused as to, like, why they're attacking something that didn't need to be attacked.
You basically have snagged a second one out of the air, so there are two of them in your clutches. And the other group of them squawk loudly, avoid you, quickly reach straight up into the sky and fly away towards the east as fast as their little bat wings can carry them. They are really making a beeline for the east. I'm going to call you out of combat at this point because you've got two completely grappled and two that have taken it on the lam, unless somebody says, no, I'm going to chase these other two down.
How far high?
They are currently at least 40 feet away, probably more because they're dashing, and they would now be up probably about 20 feet high.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry about it. I may need my wings later. We got two of them.
Okay, so you have two of these creatures that basically, as I say, look like chickens or bats out of hell. They have, let me see if I can't get a handout picture for one. That is what you are holding in your hand. And it is attempting, they are both attempting to bite you as you are holding them. It's like you have a very vicious python that's trying to get its head around and snap on you. Very large python. And they are quite strong and very hard trying to fight to get away from you.
Varys is trying to force this to the ground and, like, pin down on one knee with his... Pin one on its wing with his knee on the ground.
Yeah, I'll say that you managed to get them completely pinned, but they continue to snap and screech at you, and their tail is whipping around. You have to be really careful of it because that sting on the end of the tail is whipping around trying to get at you. They also have these little tridents that they've got, but they're pinned down as well.
I'll assist Varys by putting my foot on its head. Basically, I'm pretty much ready to just, like, crush its skull. Do you care for your life?
Let me, it squawks something in answer, but I've got to check your sheet.
I probably don't have if it's talking about a language, I probably don't know.
I'll check all the character sheets and see if anybody understands it. See if everybody's got their languages up so that I know what you've got.
So, again, what was this for?
What was what for?
There wasn't any reason to,
We have these devilish-looking creatures going after a person that we just happen to be trying to visit today. You don't find that curious?
Yeah, to be fair, these things kind of attacked a noble person? I mean, this might play out in our favor.
Based on the yelling I heard, I don't think it's going to.
Maybe not.
I've checked your sheets. I don't think any of you are understanding what this thing is screeching, and it is hideous sound. It just makes your, every time they speak, it makes your skin crawl.
Really? It's not speaking infernal or abyssal? Huh.
All right, do you understand infernal?
I do.
You understand it. Yours was the one sheet I didn't think to check. You understand it.
I'm the one with the most languages.
And it screeches in a furious tone. Let us go! Must get it!
Relian is going to kneel down so he's almost eye level with the creature. He's staying a fair distance, so no sneak attacks or unsavory attacks towards him can take place. But he's going to answer back in an infernal. My dear little chum, there's no reason to be so aggressive. We'll let you go if you answer one or two questions for us, yes?
You're talking in Infernal or Common?
I am.
Okay.
I'm talking Infernal.
Alright.
It screeches and tries to nip at you, but finally when it realizes it can't get anywhere, it says, "Answer what?"
Just answer us a few questions. One, why were you bothering the fellow up there? And I'll point to the shattered window.
Man calling. Powers. Man supposed to have it. Man says in the windmill. We fly to the windmill.
And what does bad man supposed to have? What does bad man say is supposed to be at windmill?
It kind of cocks its head almost bird-like and like it's thinking, and it goes, "Not sure exactly. Stone's supposed to be, we're supposed to find shiny stone. Stone that thinks."
Stone that thinks. That's very interesting. And who are you searching for stone that thinks for? Who is your master?
It opens its beak, and I'm going to do a roll for it real quickly. It starts to get a name out, and it's like a hand has choked off its throat, and it gets out. Won't say.
I start putting oh wait, no, I don't understand it. Never mind.
All
What
right.
language is it speaking?
Infernal.
Infernal.
Marielle looks very agitated as it's speaking.
My little friend, seems some kind of enchantment, some kind of power that prevents you from speaking your master's name. Let's see if we can find a workaround. I'm going to say a name, and all you have to do is blink once for yes, and 2 for no. Does the name Manchun mean anything to you? Have you heard that name, or is that name of your master?
Manchun not strong enough to hold us.
Manchun not strong enough. That's very interesting. But you know the name Manchun.
Manchun, weakling.
You know like Manchun?
Not like Manchun. No.
If Manchun is not your master, if Manchun is not strong enough, is your master also Manchun's master?
No. Master, very
fairies don't not have anything to do with stupid pretend wizards.
Cassalanter.
Shush.
Like, he can't say it, so...
Can this one think it?
Actually, I will be steadily relaying things as I learn them to my friends nearby, although I am going to keep the name Manshun to myself until we're free of our escort. But hearing Epi say that, I'll look at the devil and say, you know what? You're going to hear a voice in your head that is not yours. Just roll with it, little guy. Epi is all yours.
Marielle strolls up, stares down at it, and establishes a mental connection.
All right.
This
Speak the name.
This can only end well.
There is a third voice in the head.
Ooh.
Yours and its and something else. And this voice overpowers your mental connection with, I want you to roll a Constitution save.
Uh-oh.
Constitution save.
Damn!
Very constituted.
Get out of my servant's head. You do not belong to me.
And this voice is definitely the voice of some kind of fiend.
Who are you?
You will never know. Until it is too late.
It's like having a conversation with the big devil and being like,
I want your servant back.
I don't care. I already know where it is.
And Marielle is like just staring intently at this little devil, kind of zoned out. Is it speaking infernal or is it
Yes,
speaking common?
it
Okay,
is speaking.
so I can't understand
You can,
it.
no, through telepathy,
Oh,
you can,
through the connection, I can understand it. Okay, but I recognize that it's speaking infernal.
yes, but it's a telepathy connection, and you can, anyone that would have that connection would understand it.
Can I do a wisdom roll for myself?
Yes.
dun, dun,
Okay.
Jesus.
Okay.
He is wise today.
Dear, we could have made a deal.
Then come find me and make the sacrifice.
Where and how?
You will know.
Neat.
We have two Appos online tonight.
And Epiphany pulls back and well, yes, there is something very shall we say devilish in charge here. I don't believe that the master is here, Relian.
Oh, I've got an idea. Little guy, would you like to be free of your master?
No. Master
that's disappointing.
feeds us human flesh.
once it's doing that, I'm putting pressure on its head.
Oh, that's very disappointing.
I'm going to go off camera just a second. I am roasting at temperatures, been going crazy today. It has shot up about 10 degrees. And I'm going to reduce the layers that I've got here. I have 2 layers on. I'm going to take one off. But go ahead and talk.
Do we require this one from Rillian, or should we just send it?
Relian is going to withdraw his ritual dagger from his sleeve and says, "Nope." And I'm just going to plunge it in this thing's back, in the back of its head. Well, since Shepherd's foot is there, probably at the base of its neck.
Through Shepherd's foot.
No, not just at the base of its neck, where its spine is located.
Hey.
I will assume that, you can plunge it enough times that eventually you hit it, even if it's wriggling and you manage to kill it.
Then we all look at the one that Nakri has.
Would you like to do better?
It just snarls, and you get the feeling you're going to get much the same reaction. They are overpowered by whatever this creature is that's in their mind.
Can I do this one?
Yeah, sure.
Hold on just a second. I got to take my headphones off. 1 second.
If no one's going to attempt to stop him, Relian's actually going to pick up the little devil imp carcass, and he's going to kind of just roll it around in some spare cloth he has and stuff it into his bag. Components!
Okay, I'm back.
No, dinner.
Why
And
not
then
both?
Marielle comes over, takes out an index finger, looks at it, shifts to the pinky, and then corrosive strikes it in the eyeball. Just again and again and again and again.
Okay. You now have 2 dead things.
Relian's just going to slowly take the dead carcass from Nakri and shove it into his pack, much the same as the first one.
Varys is going to kind of take a strip of spare cloth and wrap the puncture wounds around himself from both the devil and from Epiphany.
I'm gonna cast Healing Hands on him. You regain 4 health right now.
Mr. Varys, I am sorry for smacking you upside the head a couple times.
Yeah, that hurt. Do it at the bad guys.
I will attempt to not do it again. I'm sorry.
I appreciate the apology.
She comes over and
Look,
dusts his shoulder off.
what's done is done. Now we have to, instead of spending time figuring out here, we go approach.
I suppose so. Relian's rubbing his arm still. I mean, what about me? I mean, come on. If I didn't have scales, I think I'd have a bruise here.
Well, I thought that it would be more effective. I'm sorry.
The only one not complaining right now is the shepherd, who also got hit, and he's just walking past.
Well,
Business as usual. I do
It's
not
like the
get that
least
as
drow
much light.
that ever walked around.
well, let's go talk to a noble who apparently consorts with devils.
Corporal Banders looks at these things that you've got pinned down and stuffing in your bags and go, "What are they?"
Dinner, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
He looks, green ichor and red ichor flowing out of him, goes, "That doesn't look like something I'd enjoy for dinner. Don't serve it in the troll skull, okay?"
Marielle comes over, hooks an arm, and says, "Oh, don't worry. It's a lot better after Relian's had it, but you won't need to worry about it."
How does Corporal Banders react, by the way, to this sudden drow in the
Drow.
Well, there are drow in the city. He is a little bit standoffish with her when she wraps her arm around him. That's a little too familiar for him. But he has learned that drow women are nobles, and he tries to give her a certain deference, but he's not real comfortable being up close and personal with drow too much.
Epiphany establishes a mental connection with Nokri and says, "This is very nice. I could get used to this."
Corporal, they're joking.
Is
Please.
this what having boobs feels like? I get so... people do...
I'm going to stop Drought Epiphany and rummage through a small satchel, take out a brooch, and go, one moment, and attach a brooch that has what looks like the symbol of an eclipse surrounded by 5 spears. You are a high noble in one of my courts, my dear.
Of course, my lady.
Just to keep appearances.
As for Colonel Banders, I'm actually going to attempt to... I'm going to attempt to lie to him and just tell him that these are just like simple wizardly alchemical beasties. Like there's nothing there's nothing to be concerned about. Don't worry.
He's gonna be dead by the end of the night, isn't he?
Let's hope not. Let's hope not. I like this character.
Dessert.
I was just gonna say he's gonna be the appetizer.
Is he wearing a red shirt?
Oh no.
Oh no, I'm looking close at the icon. He is.
He is.
Hey, he survived so far. He
Let's
survived the scarecrows. He survived the city of the dead.
He's the backup character.
He's the most effective red shirt right now.
I will play Corporal
He's
Banders.
the backup PC.
He's actually, fun fact, he's my next character.
Mike playing the long con.
Oh man.
Okie doke. He just kind of shudders as you stuff the things in his pouch and makes comments about things just keep getting worse in this city. And it watches you as you move towards the doorway. Now he's just a little bit concerned, and you can see he has his sword a little bit loosened in its attachments because he's not sure what's going to pop out of there now.
So, shall we go have our conversation?
I'm just gonna go up and knock extra politely on the door.
I do pull Epiphany back for a moment and just go like this to him or her, Muriel. Trying to give him a hint, or give her a hint as to what to do.
Yes.
I'm going to be searching for the urn. I need someone that can relay the message without me having to say anything.
She just kind of gives a very quick wink and then progressively mental connects to each of the other people. Like, Shepard is planning to look for our objective.
Awesome sauce.
Good to know.
Just keep
Shepard,
a
you were
straight
planning
face on that.
assistance.
If you see me walking away, follow me.
All right, so Nakri's actually... Is Nakri knocking? Knocking.
I have not moved it on the map, and that is my apologies. But yeah, I am going up to that door and just being like, tap tap.
There is a long pause. You can hear some rather loud talking from inside between a man and a woman as best you can tell. But there's a bit of a pause before the door gets opened. It is opened by a woman who looks like she is probably a servant. The woman is disheveled in the utmost. Her hair is flying in all directions. Her part of her sort of apron thing that's over looks like it's been clawed and torn, and her eyes are big as silver dollars, and she opens the door not sure what she's going to see. She kind of looks at you, looks past you at the group of people standing behind you, and goes, "Can I help you?"
Forgive the sudden appearance. We happened to be coming this way anyways to see if we could speak to the owner of the house. And we saw the things flying off and came in a much hurry to see if everyone was okay.
She looks at the door behind her. There's kind of a little cloak entryway thing, and she kind of looks at the door behind her and goes, he might be indisposed a bit. And she's saying it kind of loud as if she's hoping somebody will hear and kind of give her a thing. And you hear a muffled voice from behind her that says, "It's all right, Eleanor. I can handle it." And she turns to open the door, and you see a man coming down the stairs in a fine waistcoat and breeches, and dressed rather elegantly with blonde hair that strikes you as neither drow nor human. He's clearly a half-elven, but he looks like he may be half-drow. You may go about your chores, Eleanor. Everything will be fine. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, immediately. And she runs out through the door and disappears off into the rest of the house. And the man comes to the door looking as cool as a cucumber, as if nothing has gone on, but he's kind of straightening his coat as he came down the stairs. Yes, how may I help you?
Well, we actually came to inform you of some terrible news that we've gotten from the City of the Dead and wanted to deliver personally, and we saw what happened. Is everything okay?
Quite. Why do you ask? Everything's fine.
And in this city, it seems very uncommon. Things are flying through windows. We didn't get a good look, but we heard the breaking window and saw something fly off.
You saw those hideous creatures? We were attacked right in our own house by those things.
Forgive me. Is it okay to come inside to discuss what I wanted to bring the news of?
Exactly. Pardon me. I'm not on my best behavior. Please come into the parlor. Come in. And he will.
Thank you.
He will turn and open a door on the north side, which is the left side, and usher you into a combination dining room, fairly nice dining room, and parlor, and motion for you, any of you, to have a seat.
Is it
Not
up?
able to
It's up.
get.
It's up.
I can't do anything.
Up here.
Where? Oh.
Right.
Follow Shepherd.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
I hang back a bit. I'm going to cast Locate Object.
All right.
I'm looking for you.
Follow behind Anakri as the appropriate lady in waiting.
And the object I'm looking for is Alphonse Cassalanter's urn. If it's within 1,000 feet of me, I can detect its location.
You detect its location below you.
Mariel still has the connection with Shepard?
Yep, so long as you're within 30 feet of me.
It is here. Can you contact Corporal Banders as well?
I'm sure he'd appreciate that.
No, I cannot see him.
And then I'll go in. Is everyone else in?
You're closer to him than I am.
Oh, yeah. I'll actually head back out real quick and talk to Corporal Banders.
What exactly are you telling him?
I know where the urn is located. It is somewhere below the house. I can feel it.
Do you want me to go in the cellar and try to find it?
I want you to gather any other guards and be ready in case anything happens to us, considering that this is a noble, no matter how low-born that his family considers him to be. It's still a noble that we are dealing with right now.
I better get some higher ups because they may have to pull rank that I can't. I'll go get them. I'll be back in a bit.
Very well.
real quick point of thing. How long did it take us to get from the troll skull to here?
It's a mile.
It's a mile, so
Probably like 20, 30 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay, so because I have 2 hours total on this transformation, so I got about an hour and 40 minutes. So okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Vanders-
like going by like running a mile is like 8 to 10 minutes for normal fit people. So I would say it's double the time when you walk.
Oh yeah, at least, yeah. Yeah, it's half an hour, a little less, so roughly half an hour. Yeah, he goes off at a run heading for some of the police stations and things that he needs to try and bring help for you.
Forgive me, Lord, Castile?
Castile, yes.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure I was pronouncing it right.
Technically, it is not Lord, it is Magister Castile. He looks at you.
Magister.
Have we met before?
We might have.
Can I do an insight check on Castile to see if he is recognizing any of us?
Yes.
Okay.
It looks genuinely a bit like he's trying to remember. He seems to recognize you, but he hasn't put together where he recognizes you from. He's like, it's the kind of thing when you see that person's always dressed in a McDonald's uniform and you see him at the drugstore and you don't know who they are.
I just realized he didn't.
Sorry.
I just realized he only saw Shepard that night. He didn't see any of the rest of us.
And he only saw the shepherd with his hood up, so he doesn't actually know that this could be the shepherd. It could be another Undertaker.
But he doesn't recognize you from there.
Right, okay. He seems to recognize us, but not really remember from where.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Knocker will do the, of course, noble, polite laugh. This is where it would be a little bit embarrassing. It was up the courts for stopping an assassination attempt, actually.
Oh, the Zabrindis case, yes.
I try to put those days past me now. I'm just attempting to continue on with my business as normal.
Yes, well, money does buy the best of barristers, doesn't it?
Well, when you have access to it, yes. When you are trying to, not slum it per se, but trying to build up again for just the sake of doing so, it is also difficult to afford much of anything.
Yes, of course. Money talks in this city. I'm quite aware. And he kind of rolls his eyes with a bit of a long-suffering look, like he is implying more than he's saying.
Believe me, I can understand. I've seen enough of this fine city to get that as a general thing. But forgive me, I came because I was actually taking an assistance from one of our gravedigger friends. They were saying that there was some issue at the City of the Dead, and upon going, we discovered that unfortunately, and again, forgive me for being the one to deliver this to you, the remains of some of your family members are missing.
His back goes ramrod straight. Whose family?
I believe they may have been a brother and father. If what I was told is correct.
I am not recognized as part of that family.
That is what I was informed, even though I know I've heard of the disconnect, and I felt it was more prudent to tell the actual son versus side family, or rather extended family.
I'm not terribly concerned if my father goes missing. My only concern is what disaster he may have wrought upon this city. Actually, it was probably more likely my grandfather.
Real quick. You
Forgive
speak
my
of
luck.
Vincenzo.
He turns and looks at you with a cold-eyed stare. Yes.
Forgive me for being not in the knowledgeable know, but would you know of any enemies that would attempt to take any of your family's remains, be it close or distant?
The Cassalanters have both powerful friends and powerful enemies. I am not responsible for their feuds. I am responsible only for my own welfare.
Forgive me. I just wanted to make sure that there was no one who had a grudge that may have attempted this to do something to you. That is all.
He looks back and forth between the group of you, and you can see he's you don't need an insight roll to tell he is overly ramrod straight over this and very uncomfortable.
You say you don't really care for your father's remains disappearance, but what of your brothers?
My brother and I were never terribly close, and I have simply found other ties that are more useful than the Cassalanter name. My brother tried to the day he died to do it, and they only called upon my grandfather's evil.
I see. Forgive me then. Would you rather that I continued this with talking to them, if this is, of course, not within your interest to know about? Or, I mean, I feel that I should. It is family. You should at least be in the aware that someone is messing with it.
He walks over and very carefully steps past Shepard to close the door into the parlor dining room area so that none of the voices can get out, and steps back over by the fireplace. There is more to this than you realize, and you are dealing with something that could very well destroy you.
Unfortunately, from everything I have done or attempted to do in the name of doing good, I am not surprised that anything is going to attempt to destroy me. In fact, I do not shy away from a challenge ever.
I will, and he looks at Mariel. My lady, I apologize. I should not have been so callous in your presence. I am attempting to learn the ways of our people. I will acquiesce this once. What you seek lies below, but I would like you very much to keep the guards out of it for their own safety. I have determined part of what I wanted to know, and I do not like it.
Insight check.
I would like to roll that too.
I mean, if we're all able to roll insight checks, then
I mean, I'm having a direct conversation, but I brought you guys as the dice roll backups.
Well, they are already inside it, so I won't roll.
Yeah.
You pretty much determine, although he hasn't told you everything, that what he has said so far seems to be fairly truthful, and you detect a layer of fear. There is a definite aura of fear on him.
My good sir, and Relian's speaking up now, and you'll notice his usual accent is devoid. You claim concern for the gods. Perhaps you can share that concern and care for us. It is said that knowing too much can be hazardous to one's health. However, knowing just enough can also save one's life. I would like to ask you a few questions on exactly the matter we're dealing with. If you want us to stay out of it, to steer clear, it would be prudent to know exactly what we're steering clear from.
He kind of cricks his neck and straightens his coat and says, "You are asking a great deal, my dear shepherd. A great deal."
That
Was
was
it Shepard
Ryan.
who's saying it? Yeah.
Oh, that was right. That was Relian. So he
Sorry.
he doesn't know Relian's name. I was thinking he was talking to the shepherd. You are asking a great deal, my dear sir, and you will realize this as soon as I begin speaking. Where would you like me to begin?
I have 3 points of interest that have piqued my curiosity, as dangerous that is. First and foremost, I would like to know why we saw those creatures vacating your premises, why they were here in the first place.
I would imagine it is because my loving family sent them. As to why they were here exactly, they were after a device which is, to the best of my knowledge, until recently most of us have thought was only a rumor. But those of us who are in the magistry and various things have known there is a degree of truth to it, that the Lord Neverember embezzled a great deal of money from this city quite some time back and hid it. And apparently hid it under the stewardship of what is called a stone. The stone, however, is more than that. It is a sentient device. And it is able to manipulate people and their minds into transporting it where it wishes to go. Much of probably what has been going on recently has been it gnawing at the minds of various people who hold it. I believe it is running about the city, and apparently my family thought, for some god's-forsaken reason, that I had come into possession of it.
And did you?
No. But
Insight.
I think...
Inside. we all
I'm
stay
rolling this
inside.
time.
Yep.
Go for it.
He keeps right on talking, and you feel like he is just determined to get this out. He is irritated, scared, and very tired of dealing with this.
So basically, it's the kind of honesty that just comes from, I'm just sick of this situation.
Yep.
I'm getting too old for this crap.
So we're basically getting the sensation that he's not like involved in it. He just keeps getting caught up in it and just kind of wants to live his life.
Pretty much.
Master,
Well-
forgive me if I may.
Oh,
And I'll just hold I'll hold a hand up to ask Relian to hold for 1 second. I'm assuming this stone
that should
has
be fun.
something to do with why the outside of the Trollskull Alley was bombarded.
He stops and considers. I don't know all the details, but it has come into my information that one of the individuals that was killed there, they have determined, was the personal courier of Lord Neverember himself, and apparently, from what the research has indicated, he was headed for your establishment to give you said stone.
Which is surprisingly news to us, but is not uncommon of a thought pattern that we have heard so far. I won't be dishonest about that.
The mages and clerics have spoken with a number of those who died in the incident. Most of them were merely confused and did not know what was happening. However, he very clearly was headed to give it to you, apparently at the behest of Lord Neverember himself, because you had protected the sun.
That was actually one of the first things we did together as a group, yes.
Beyond that, there was confusion about those who attacked him, except he seemed to feel it was enemies trying to get their hands on the stone. And apparently, they did.
If I'm being completely honest, the multitude of treasures do not interest me. What does interest me is this stone. It was on its way to us. You say you are not in possession of it. However, your family believes you have had some contact or some knowledge of it. And frankly speaking, sir, while I believe it is not in your possession, I think you might know where it either is or have an inkling to where it's headed. Would you be so kind as to share that information?
There is a family member, or a connection to a family member, who sometimes resides in the old windmill that is down in the South Ward. It was a building that existed before the walls of the city extended out that far. It was part of what was then farmlands. Now it is in disrepair and is frequented by individuals with dark connections. I believe that quite likely those who had possession of it have in some way, and I have lost the connection between, he waves his hands, between this Dalekar that they interviewed and these beings breaking into my windows. I believe that something has transported the stone away and has taken it to that residence. I cannot be certain, but based on certain experiences I have had in the last few hours, it is my leaning that it is going that way. As to why those creatures suspected me, I probably should have been more discreet. But I figured that the bones of the physician and of my relatives might give me the answers that I sought, in the same way that Dalekar gave the answers to the city clerics.
That comes upon my third and final point. I can hazard a guess to what your family relations are like. From one outcast to another, from one whose relations with their family is strained, let's say, due to conditions outside of their control, I sympathize. But what exactly were you attempting to gain from the bones of your relatives? Why'd you do it? I suppose is the long and short of it. How exactly were you attempting to discern these answers, and what answers were you seeking?
Exactly what the darkness was that is feeding on our family.
Any luck?
Unfortunately, yes. And that is why his minions attacked me.
And who is he? I briefly spoke to one of your little assailants, and frankly speaking, I named one or two players in this game for the city so far, and he laughed them off. He seemed very much more afraid and impressed with whoever he calls master.
I am not surprised. Apparently, my family, clear back to my grandfather, have had dealings with beings from the abyss who have granted them power in return for family blood.
I'm surprised no tieflings have been born in your family, if that's the case.
No, they are more under the thumb of this than in love with it.
When you say that in return for family blood, you don't mean that they just take blood. They just take the entire person.
I'm not entirely sure. I've only been there a few times, but I know the stories. I've heard. People disappear in the middle of the night and are never seen again. And there's my cousin, Osvaldo.
Victoro.
Osvaldo.
Osvaldo? I thought it was Victoro.
Osvaldo.
Oh, Victoro and Osvaldo are both brothers, so yeah, one of the cousins. Sorry.
Actually, let me make sure I'm looking at the right.
Quick, everyone,
No,
check it
not
out.
not brothers. I've got it right.
No, it's Lorenzo. Oh, Osvaldo is a nephew then, actually, not cousin.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or we'll call it cousin because it's one of those weird things.
Yeah, exactly.
Cousins twice removed.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we'll call it
it's a cousin or a nephew. He's related in some way, fairly close. But Osvaldo, they say that he is gone to another city. I don't think he is. I don't believe them.
What is your theory?
I think he's alive somewhere in that estate. And I don't think he's anything anybody wants to deal with.
Epiphany establishes a mental connection with Nokri.
Nokri will just play the listening with interest but neutral on everything and reply back to Epiphany.
There, by the way, is a rapping at the door, and you hear a woman talking to a number of male voices.
It's the guards.
You may want to take care of that real quick. Tell them that it was a false alarm. And question, how far do we want to trust him with information that we know?
I'll actually go out since I'm the one that went with the guards.
And indeed, when you go there, you see the harried housekeeper talking with the guards and going, "Oh no, sir, everything's just fine, sir. We have no problem at all."
Do I see Corporal Banders anywhere?
Yes, Corporal Banders is in the group, and there is a captain in rank, but not stature.
Good. Because this would have gotten really messy if it was.
Yeah, Corporal Banders would avoid Stadget if he could.
Right.
We do not know how much information we should trust this one with. We have just met him. However, we do not sense any overt deception from him. Perhaps just enough information to establish some sort of
trust.
rapport. but we do keep hearing about this stone everywhere.
Well, it's another thing we've left open, isn't it?
Yes.
I've been wanting to look for the stone for ages, so
Oh,
don't
we've
you?
been doing the mental connection. I don't think
Okay,
you're in
sorry.
that. Yeah.
You're not in our friend Brilliant. How did you?
This is an A-B conversation. See
This
you
is
way out.
this is like what this is like
It's
when
hard to keep track sometimes.
This
because
is that
we all
wow-
Made the same mistake.
this is
all
that
made the
wow
same mistake.
conversation. This is that wow conversation I had when I first started RPing and I wasn't doing it right. When I walked up to a person who had a name over their head and called them by name. And the person, very cool and very nice and not at all an RP police type, turned to me with wide eyes and said, "Oh, have we met? I don't seem to remember meeting you before." And all of a sudden, it dawns on me, hey, people don't walk around with names over their head, stupid.
The hello, my name is.
What are you thinking of sharing with him, Brutal Smasher?
The nimble ride.
Marielle, visibly, shifts. We do not know if that would be wise.
I'm not saying to involve the Growlhuns, but I am saying to mention that we've heard of the rogue nimble ride and wondered if that might be the carrier.
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
We will go with
Sorry.
your judgment in this instance.
On a quick OOC, because I don't want to screw up anyone with the group. Should I bring up the nimble right? Not the Growlhuns, just the nimble right.
I mean, what's the worst that could happen?
Did you make any progress?
We've been treading carefully for so long. Just do it.
Yeah. Because the thing is, we have not made it any illusion that we are looking for a nimble right. We've just not connected it to the Growlhuns.
Worst case scenario, we kill him. The guards are here. As far as they know, we've prepped this thing. He attacked us. We're good. Best case scenario, we got a new buddy.
Exactly.
Worst case scenario, we kill him. We blame the imps.
There we go.
Do it.
Okay.
Except that the guards are already here.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to be handling soon.
Yeah. Magister, you mentioned that something is moving this object around. From all the little threads I've picked up since the attack in front of Troskull to the people who are dead, everything that's been going on, there is one small factor that has been not kept super quiet, but kept a low hush because we did not want the temple to get in trouble for a rogue element. There is a Nimborite running about the city that is not tethered to the temple.
You place me in a difficult position by telling me that. I would be responsible for informing the lords of same because the temple is under strict laws in the city.
It is not the temple's ownership of the Nimborite that is... They do not own it because it does not belong to them. We still have not figured out the actual owner, just that it is out there. They have been most gracious in assisting us with finding a way to track it.
He looks sideways as if he's thinking about a lot of things, and then he kind of nods. I see. A Nimborite under someone else's ownership.
We did not want to cause a citywide panic and have been attempting to continue to follow it since the explosion.
He looks straight at Marielle. My lady, you know nothing of the ownership of this?
We have been attempting to determine um, who has any sort of influence on this entity, but thus far it is definitely not been in connection with the temple. They have made it very clear when we've spoken to them that they are doing everything in their power to keep to the agreement that was made. Um, as far as this, rogue individual, we still have as yet to determine who might be breaking that law.
And you personally, with your family connections, do not have any idea?
I have been speaking with various contacts of mine as best as I can, but I've unfortunately come up with empty hands.
I understand. Well, I have heard of others being brought to the city, but not brought into the city, but that is actually outside my power to influence in any way, so there you stand probably more capable of swaying individuals than I. I am but a half-breed. However, it would explain much if this is how it's being carried. I know only from the reports across my deck that a human carried away the stone from Drakkar.
Oh, Zilly could be speaking of Urstal.
He is. Because we know that much
Yeah.
of what happened that night. That's why I was asking how much you guys want to trust this guy and how much information do we want to give.
Right. Well, I'm not in there now, so.
I know. Your opinion.
Let's very quickly handle Shepard at the door with the guards.
Right. Well, then I will gently push aside, move the lady in front of me aside so that I can reach.
She will look up at you and nod and kind of step aside. They are insisting on coming in, and I'm trying to tell them we've got no problem in here and everyone is fine. Would you let them know?
They came at my behest. That's why I'm here. I'll move forward.
Corporal Banders steps up to the door with the captain, and he said, "You said that the stolen bones were below the house, correct?"
They are indeed.
Well, then we need to claim them immediately. This is the captain now speaking. We need to claim them immediately. This falls under the laws of Waterdeep, sir.
Indeed. However, the man has admitted to the reason why he claimed them. He needed to search for answers. As a representative of the Undertakers Guild, I have gone ahead and what's the word I'm looking for? ONC-wise.
Sanctioned.
I've gone. Yeah, there we go. That's a good thing. I've gone ahead and sanctioned this investigation for his answers. He has decided that he will make a donation to the City of the Dead as reparations for not doing it the proper way.
There's a look between all the guards, and the captain is definitely above his pay grade on this one, and he kind of blinks at you a little bit, and he says, "So you will vouch for these bones being in proper care now, sir?"
Yes, I am the shepherd Imriel Morban, if you do need to question my identity.
Oh, I recognize you, sir, and certainly you would be one to speak for such things, but well, if you say that the bones are being properly cared for and will be returned, please contact us immediately, and, well, I guess send Corporal Banders again if you need us.
As soon as I make their bring them to their rightful resting place, I will have word sent to the guard post that they have been returned.
Thank you, because I will need to file a report with this, but I will state that they are now in your care and that no further action was needed.
That is correct.
Very well, very well.
I do apologize for wasting your time. I thought this would end in a much different fashion.
Oh, of course, of course. And he just kind of looks at the house, and you can see recognition of whose house this is. And yes, sir. I'm assuming.
I'm trying to keep it on the download, though.
Yes, I will write up the report that you are taking care of it. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can tell he's relieved that he doesn't have to go in and arrest a magistrate.
Right, and then I'll look to Corporal Banders. And again, to you, I apologize for wasting your time. However, you did do a good job in doing what you needed to do. And believe me when I say that I think I can at least start trusting you at least.
The others are kind of marching away behind him, and he kind of nods.
I would have waited for them to move away before I said that.
Smiles. All right. Yes, sir. Make sure that they do get back to the graveyard, and everything should be fine. Hopefully they don't get Stadget or one of the others involved.
I kind of hope they do. And I just make a little turn back into the house.
And he takes up his post at the corner of the house again.
And then I'll nod to the woman and just enter back to the room and make sure that the door is shut again.
Very good. Okay.
Where we left off. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep track because I had to step away for a minute, so I kind of missed a middle block there.
Last bit was talking about the human.
Yeah.
Which we know is Erstal. So I don't know if you remember your line of questioning.
Yeah, basically he has said that he only knows of this human, and he would possibly in the interim while Shepard was at the door have said that it was his belief that the Zentarum took it. But how it got out of their hands, I don't know. I don't understand.
That is where we believe. We're still putting together the pieces, but that is where we believe the thing, the mechanical one, got involved. We had started to follow that person, lost track of them, but managed to, along the way, pick up on the signal of the thing the other thing we've been looking for, and it took off. I'm assuming with the object in question.
And we had not entirely ruled out my distant relations.
I have no doubt that they want to get their hands on it immediately, and it is probably the only way, if they are trying to stop the curse that my grandfather caused. I believe that they think that money is the only way to do it.
We've heard much about what this curse is. Or we've heard you speak much about this curse. What exactly is it? Oh, the demon. Never mind. I'm sorry.
To be precise, it's a devil. And apparently my grandfather made a pact with it. And for it he got great wealth and great prestige, but there was apparently a clause attached that said there would be blood shed in every generation to feed it. for every power request they have, more blood is demanded.
Can I want to make a roll for this to see if this ties into Savio, Lorenzo, and Osvaldo, since that's every generation. And
I think it was mentioned earlier that Otto believes that Osvaldo is still
yeah, but like Lorenzo is not, Savio is not, and I know information about them being gone or missing of some sort.
Well, I mean, you're trying to see if every generation had someone that went missing or died in strange ways or whatever.
I'm trying to
Give
think.
me,
Like you just said.
give me a good history roll, and I will give what I believe you're looking for.
History. That's a 15.
That's a decent roll. You certainly, as the shepherd and the graveyard, know that there are strange disappearances. Now, there are more than one disappearance per generation, which does not necessarily indicate that it was part of the pact. But you know there has been someone who died highly mysteriously or disappeared completely in every generation. At least one. In the case of the children of Vincenzo Cassalanter, the grandfather, 2 of his children went missing. Now, his son inherited and held the title. He's in fact called the Old Lord, because he held the title for quite some time. He appears to have died of old age and was buried in the crypt. His bones were stolen. However, Vincenzo had a daughter that disappeared, has not been seen in years, and had a son who briefly took over the reign, since there was no legitimate heir, briefly took over the lordship for Alphonse when Alphonse died quite elderly. And the brother of Alphonse was also fairly along in years. He disappeared very mysteriously, and his name is Savio. He had these 2 sons, Victoro, who is the current Lord Cassalanter, and Lorenzo, who claimed the title and then died of very mysterious circumstances, was, you believe, buried in City of the Dead. However, nobody has ever verified that, whether he was indeed.
I remember you telling me that I've never seen either Savio or Lorenzo have any kind of thing in the City of the Dead, despite being told that they both died. That's what I was trying to get at, is that can I piece together to see if
so Victoro's brother has gone missing. That's that generation. As for his children, something has happened possibly to one of his children. However, he has 2 twins who seem to be healthy and happy and have no problem.
Right. And I know that they're relatively young, like they're like 5 to 10
9.
years old.
I think they're 9,
Okay.
as I recall.
Okay. Sorry to derail. I was trying to figure out if I could piece together something.
Do we have anything we want to share, get involved with, try to pick his brain about? Because my brain has just run on the...
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just like move the conversation towards how can we get those remains back?
Well, he's already offered to give them back.
Okay.
I have questions, and I'm going to actually reference the fight that the 2 had. I'm assuming it was Otto. I have questions, young man, that perhaps you can tell this old man.
Yes.
what is this cult that they are involved with? Is this also involving this curse as well?
He opens his mouth, finally turns to the table and picks up a stray piece of scrap paper off the table and pens something on it and hands it to you, and let me whisper it to you.
Okay.
This episode brought to you by air. Breathe it in.
Through a mask.
Got it.
Right.
Mask. Remember, cough into something.
Don't forget to wash your hands and clean your face regularly.
Be careful taking Benadryl for allergies, or you'll want to faceplant during the middle of the day.
Because you can't be sneezing if you're knocked out.
You can't be sneezing if you're not conscious.
Sorry. Bad jokes, but damn. Ow.
Would I recognize this name?
Absolutely. With your background, with your connections, I can't see any way you wouldn't recognize this as like the big bro.
Yeah, so like I know this name OOC because I follow D&D and whatnot, so I'm assuming that's what it is. I look at it and I pull my hood back, and I'm going to actually insight just to be on the safe side. I want to see if he's telling the truth, or like his way of telling the truth, like is he fearful or anything.
His hand is trembling as he's handing it to you. He is fearful, and he looks at you with a look to say he is shooting you daggers, trying to give you his thoughts, and you can tell he is saying, like, don't say this out loud.
Yep, I'm looking for like a fireplace, a candle, something that has fire.
The fire is burning in the fireplace behind you.
I crumple up the paper and I throw it into the fireplace.
Epiphany establishes a mental connection with the ship. We take it you recognized that.
This is far larger than I expected it to be.
Oh, that will be fun.
I require, and then I'll say out loud, I require questions.
You require what? You broke just a
I
little.
require no other questions. Okay. If you can lead me to the urns that were taken, we will be on our way.
Very good. I have found my answers from them, much as I now wish I hadn't. And Shepard.
Yes.
I apologize.
Is he apologizing for the fight last night, or? Right. Water under the bridge. Don't do it again.
I thought I would get a simple answer, and I have the capability to do what I did. I'm not out of my capabilities, but I do not have the capability to deal with the answers I found. And he will motion to you all to follow him to the stairs.
We follow?
Yeah,
I'll go
I'm
with.
assuming we'll follow.
He actually goes past the stairs. And let me just take a bunch of doors off of here so you can follow in. You follow him all the way into the kitchen where there are a number of women cooking. They look up rather startled as you come through. He just says, everything is fine. Do not worry. I have handled the problem that has plagued us. And he will lead you through the kitchen. I'm doing stuff. Hang on. Hold on. on. They are ready.
Give us a little
They
bit
are
of
ready.
liberty and we all get ADD.
I said,
we're mice in the maze
wait
trying to
for
find
me,
the
I'm
cheese.
your leader.
We're mice in the maze trying to find that cheese.
It is the year of the rat.
And then the year of the rat begins with the plague.
He doesn't go
Oh,
up the
God.
stairs, he goes into the kitchen.
Which is the kitchen? This one in here?
Yep,
There, yep, here we go. And then
Okay.
you go up here.
yep. And he takes you around into a coat cupboard that is behind the kitchen. Where's his token? I have lost him in all the... Yeah,
I'm moving
that's it.
moving mine back so you can.
He's
Yeah.
he is here in this back entryway. Follow him into the back entryway. Follow Castile. Follow the
Still
leader.
still on one spot on the screen.
There we go.
Okay, and he takes you into this coat cupboard, pulls on one of the cloaks in the cupboard, and a door slides open. Let me pick you all up. Stand still. Stand still.
No. Can't stop, won't stop.
Shepherd just loses his mind and goes crazy as he's running around in circles.
Can't stop, won't stop.
It's like a dog.
Shepherd
It's
catches-
like a dog that hasn't been let out in the backyard.
Shepherd catches Corona.
Cat with the laser pointer.
Oh my god.
And I am going to pull you to another section of the map.
This is when the DM locks you on another map and you can't leave it.
Yeah. Summon 1d20. Get hit
Boulder.
Hey, it's the Tomb of Erratic here. Neat.
I don't even see. Oh, there we go.
You go down some stairs into the cellar, and you can see there have been people coming in and out of this area. He very resolutely marches you over to the door over here, depresses a section of the wall, and the door slides open again to reveal a summoning chamber.
Oh boy.
And this is where we do.
And this is where we die.
Roll for initiative? No, I'm kidding.
The sacrifice must be made.
We'll get you this time, Gadget.
Sacrifice is rejected. You shall all die now.
He walks into the circle and points to a pile that looks like it is 3 bones, three sets of skeletons. And he also points at 3 urns that are alongside them. There's the urns that are labeled with the names. These are the bodies that you seek. They have given me the answers that I demanded of them.
Did you happen to keep in mind which
one is which?
with which urn?
I like the idea of us putting the wrong body back in the urns and no one ever knowing.
He kind of chuckles just a little bit and moves over and does identify the 3. You can see one set is older than the other, etc. He is able to identify the different bones and which urns.
I'd like
they
to insight that he's not screwing with us. I don't trust him.
Reasonably, I could probably help him out with this. Having been working with the City of the Dead, I could probably tell the age of the remains of each one.
Yeah, and he is helping, and he does let Imriel identify all of them properly, and you can tell that some of the bones are of considerably younger age, haven't been around as long, and the other 2 are much more aged bones.
So then, yeah, I help out with the remains, put them back into the urns, and then I hand 1 urn to Nakri, 1 urn to Varys, and then I'll hold the last urn.
Very good.
I'll gently hold on to it. Magister,
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, thank you for trusting in us and being honest about the situation. It is good to know that there is somebody in Waterdeep within your position that I feel that we would be able to trust if something, not for a favor, but more for if we need to turn to someone for either aid or information.
Yes, well, as long as you do not affect any of my bonds that I attempt to maintain, you do not undermine them, I will be glad to help you. And each of you have a point of renown through him that is limited by only one condition, which I will not tell you. You will only know it if you activate it, and I don't think you will.
There is one small thing, Magister. From at least in my investigating, with everything going on, I heard about the mass arrests that happened around the city. In rumor, of course. I do not think the correct people were arrested. I cannot give any evidence as to how I believe these things, but it is a very strong hunch, and I am a woman who lives by the gut of my hunches. I've stayed alive this long. I have made my business thrive from this. It may be prudent to delay any deaths for executing the wrong people for the wrong reasons.
You speak of Devil Starsong, who is in custody, yes?
I do not think it is them.
I will take it under advisement. It is certainly, there is evidence against him that the Zentarum were acting in this. But I will do this much, my lady. And are you going to spend your point of renown with him?
I'm doing that renown, yep.
I will do this much for you. I will do everything in my magisterial power to delay any actions or any trial that he may come under until such time as you are able to determine if his organization was involved.
The only thing I know is that there is a split and a difference from everyone I have talked to between those with a fist and those without it.
How do you mean those with the fist and those without it? Their hand is cut off?
No, the markings. One of them has certain marks, and then the ones who died in front of the inn had one with a fist attached to it. That is the only thing I am aware of. From talking to other guards and other people who are more knowledgeable than I, one of the things that is set off is that those who were arrested did not have this mark, but the ones who died who were after the stone did.
Sir Otto, we will speak plain. There has been a split in the Zentarum, and supposedly a very old player has returned to Waterdeep and has attempted to resume control, which he feels is his. Some have flocked to his banner and are thus symbolized with a fist above their original marking. Those who are hesitant, or those who feel the status quo is more than adequate, retain the devil is the person. And for you, I don't have much proof, but I can assure you that those causing harm to Waterdeep, those running about and killing and stepping above their bounds, are the ones known now as the Fist Zentarum.
I will relay this. I will have the Inquisitors speak to Devil regarding this. I have not been directly involved in his interrogations nor in any preliminary trials. However, and he nods again at Nokri and then at Mariel. Do you wish this too, my lady? been acting on behalf of your noble statuses. I will see what I can do to delay any action so that he is not placed under trial and is not executed for any crimes against the city. I will do everything within my power, which is considerable. I can delay court actions through several means. I will file papers and what have you to give you time to allow this to be proven.
Speaking plainly once more, what would it take from us, or more specifically me, for you to play a very active role in his defense? What's more, what exactly will it take to get him out?
Considerable power and considerable coin to be spread around to others who will have to be swayed for it. For now, let us just delay it and see what there is. I will act on the renown which our ladies have here, and I will see to it that he will not be executed within at least the next month.
That should be enough time to find out more.
To sway the courts and to get someone out of jail can frequently take a large, large purse of coin. My family has been spending such large coin for some time, and many favors must be granted to many people. So for now, simply to delay is probably your best course of action.
Well, I think this has been a very proactive afternoon. This has only been like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably like, by the time you get back to Trollskull, it'll probably be like 2 o'clock.
Okay, so about when during this whole thing is Epiphany starting to feel the spell wearing off?
Right, probably you're starting to itch a little bit under this fake skin, and probably will want to hurry out, but you'll probably want to go off in a different direction from Corporal Banders when you get out of the house.
Well, Magister, my Lady Nakri, unfortunately I have to attend to other matters in our investigation before those leads dry up. Would you permit me to be excused?
But of course, you have been such a treasure to add as an ally. Continue.
And I will add that a quick exit for Epiphany is out the cellar door.
Epiphany, Marielle makes her way up, thanks the servant, leaves, goes into the nearest alley, and turns themselves, uses the last bit of the altar herself to slip out of the dress, and then drops the concentration, and looks down.
Oh no, Epi's naked.
Takes the dress, slings it on the back, and then pulls their because they did bring the new cloak that they have, so now they're covered back up. And
why do I have this image of this regal, beautiful, defined drow noble lady just stairs and then just kind of exit stage left?
Yeah, and then
into Quasimodo.
and then turns into this, and it.
Hi. And then Epiphany runs back to the troll skull.
Princess Fiona.
I am too.
Well, Epiphany actually will go make a pit stop at Red Hat to inform him that
Okay.
the City of the Dead is getting the stuff back, and then go to
And I will handle that in text outside of game. You'll get your renown and your reward for that. I'm assuming the group of you will be heading back, regathering the troll skull to discuss what went on and what you want to do with it. You basically now have two people that are absolutely certain what they saw and what they did. You have Laeral Silverhand, who met with Cashin in the alley that he has reported, who said that the stone was taken from Fenris and taken down the nearby cellar, which you would be able to find by asking the residents.
I'm still not convinced that was Laeral.
And you also have this guy who has told you from his summonings and what have you that he believes that the stone has instead been taken to this windmill. So you have two completely conflicting stories and two people with their own purposes who are directing you two different ways. So you guys are going to have to flip a coin this week and decide which one you are going to follow, and after that point you'll know where your story leads you.
I got an idea.
Maybe or maybe not, because as you saw tonight, some of the players behind the players are different than you think. Anyway, we will move forward next week. Thank you for turning in this week, and this episode has been a stutter step one, as the players and their backgrounds tended to mesh into a kind of a different story than they started out with, so they are discovering some different answers and moving with a slightly different story than we thought we were going with. It's been quite interesting.
Last week.
So we will see you next week on Crone's Crucible, and we'll find out which way they're going to go. Hopefully you guys will discuss it this week, and we can kind of pick up and keep going without a lot of discussion online next week. I'll say good night and ask anybody else have anything they need to say before Aurelian gives us his farewell.
Remember, we're doing this so you can stay inside and enjoy watching us. That way you don't have to worry about the shenanigans outside.
Wash your hands.
Wash
your face.
But you are being punished by watching my hair grow. All right. All right.
Everyone just comes on with a full beard.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Mrs. Claus?
Those dwarven ladies braid their beards. But does Aurelian have any famous last words for us tonight?
Bye, everybody. Remember, you may think we're crazy, and me the craziest of the bunch, but I am literally running on 1 hour of sleep and hyped up on caffeine and sugar. What's your excuse?
Get some sleep, man. Take a nap.
Good night, all. Thanks for tuning in.